So this is our standard sleek 5 kilowatt unit, the wall mounted unit, which serves an open plan kitchen linen diner. It's the middle of the range. We've got a 3, a 5, and then a slightly larger one, a 7. This is connected to a fully internal exclusive condenser concealed within the utility zone of the client's property. At all times, you have to have a refrigeration pipework that connects the wall mounted unit to the condenser, and that is refrigeration pipework carrying just refrigerant gas. However, because the unit also effectively dehumidifies the space, you also have a condensation line which runs back to the condenser area to discharge any water, humidity accumulated, collected from the space in question. When you're running the system, the sheer process of moving warm, moist air over a cold surface will dehumidify that air. That moisture collects in the reservoir of the unit, but then needs to be ejected away. Now, if the system just so happened to be backing onto a utility zone or where the condenser was going to go, you can run this via gravity, as the water will just flow straight out and down the back normally. However, where you've got the condenser remotely located and you need to run the pipework up into the ceiling, you need to have a condensate pump which will do this work. Condensate pumps are a third-party item, and we tend to use one of the market-leading brands like Aspen. But either way, there will either be an elbow type, which is not on this unit. On this unit, you can see there's nothing to the left or the right, or an inline type, which is concealed behind the unit. We can only know which one we can install once we're doing the installation, because we will know if there's a cavity behind the unit. And where we can install an inline pump so it's not visible to the client, we will always take that option. But in some instances, you need to have an elbow on either side of the unit which conceals both the pipework going up into the ceiling and the elbow pump, and we'll show you that shortly. So this now is an example of a unit fitted with an elbow pump to the left-hand side of the unit. So again, the pipework exit goes up into the ceiling and over the top to where the remote condenser would be. And this pump on the side is there for 2 reasons. Number 1, to hide the pipework which is concealed within that area because it exits either the left or the right. But most importantly, the condense pump, which as previously explained, needs to remove the condensation from the unit and eject it back to where the condenser or the drain is. I'll show you that condensate pump so you can see where it's located, because I'll remove the plastic cover. So here you can see the black pipework which is insulated, which runs up into the elbow, and this is the condensate pump. The condensate pump has a reservoir, and as the water from the fan coil comes out from the dehumidification process, it flows into the reservoir. The reservoir fills up. You can actually see there's a little bit of water in there now. It will rise up to the top, activate a magnetic float switch, and then this pump will hum slightly to eject the condensate. Now, that can obviously happen during normal operation. It happens more frequently at the beginning when you run your system, and also, and this is one reason why we say don't run your system too hard, if you run your system really hard, it will over condensate and it will run a lot louder and also more frequently. So let it do its work, run the system for a couple of hours, especially before you go to bed, let it remove the condensate from the room, and then that will run less frequent. So I've explained why you would need a condensate pump, and then the 2 types, either concealed or on the surface. And I've also explained that it will run harder at the beginning, and it will run harder should you set the temperature really low at the outset and not let it run low and slow like we've recommended. However, even when you switch off the unit, it may still run a couple of times, because whilst the condensation is still within the unit and it's slowly making its way to the reservoir, this condensate pump, this reservoir here, will also may slowly fill up again and then activate. So don't be surprised if after you've switched off the unit, after 10 minutes, half an hour, it might activate one more time, twice or whatever, just to remove any last few little bits of condensate which may have accumulated.